Present lunch. Please take your seat so we continue the forum. Our next session, chaired by Dr. Julia Glidden, will discuss the implementation of open government activities. The topic is discussed by Mr. Young-Soon Lee, Mr. Harriet Merrill, Mr. Gharid Badawood, and Mr. Romain Lacombe. Please welcome them to the stage.
It's never a good sign when your moderator's the last to sit down, but thank you very much for joining us for this session. I've had the privilege of working with Garrett for many years now, and I can assure you that we're going to have a wonderful informal discussion. We had a tour de force this morning of global trends in open data and global trends in the relationship between open data and open government. And what we want to do this afternoon in the session is to really focus on practical implementation. How does open data really fuel smart cities, which our next speaker is going to talk about? What are the regional challenges for implementation? What are the steps that you need to take at a national or regional level to really bring the fruition of open data, the tool and the technologies of open data, to what really matters, which is better government services, smarter communities, smarter ways of living? So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Young-Soon Lee from the Republic of South Korea, which is a world leader year after year after year in surveys on e-government. We have so much to learn from the Republic of South Korea, and Mr. Lee has spent the last 15 years working with the National Information Society Agency, where he heads up what I think is one of the most impressive governmental initiatives, which is their International Cooperation Initiative. Mr. Lee has worked with over 30 countries around the world, sharing the Republic of South Korea's excellence and experiences in this very important domain. Thank you. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Young-Soon Lee, the Director of National Information Society Agency. I'll be presenting on the implementation of open government activities. I assume that most of you know Korean singer Psy. As you can see him from the slide, he has gained worldwide popularity with his famous song Gangnam Style. The first time that many of you saw his music video should have been through YouTube. In fact, this kind of phenomenon represents the major features of ICT paradigm, which is public open data. If Psy hasn't taken the effort to publicize his song on YouTube and rather only made compact discs to sell them, he wouldn't have gained the same popularity as he has over the years. Psy's case clearly demonstrates that you can benefit more if you open and share information instead of trying to monopolize the information. There has been an exponential growth in the data volume. In fact, the volume of world's information doubles every 2 years. As you can see the slide, the size of data volumes dramatically increase. In this generation of dramatic increase in data quantity, effective data management, analysis, and its application has become a significant issue. Thus, I want to mainly focus on this kind of ICT paradigm shift and how the Korean government has been responding to this. First of all, I will briefly touch on the achievements of Korea's informatization, a specific aspect of the changes in ICT environment and new challenges, and Government 3.0 strategy and its further direction as the Korea government's responsive strategy. First, achievements of Korea informatization. Based on the past informatization drivers, Korea was able to make the following achievements. Now more than 30 years, really thanks to ICT, Korea have been changed to quite different. Even nowadays, ICT have quite a high portion of Korea's GDP. Also, increasing ICT convergence leads to substantial outcomes in economic and industrial growth. On the other hand, there are some limitations too. One is a lack of substantial outcomes, such as new growth engine development or job creations. Those are new assignments to our future government. Second, changes in ICT environment and new challenges. Recently, there has been rapid changes in the ICT environment, and hence, new challenges are being suggested. The development and changes in the Internet of Things environment signify the coming of the age of hyperconnectivity. Secondly, there has been an acceleration of a full-range convergence in every area of our lives: device convergence, service application convergence, industrial convergence. In addition, due to the development of human-oriented intelligence, we come towards the user-centered approach of a technological environment. For the Korean government, try to use new intelligent ICT for the citizens. It's more like customer-oriented services. Previously, most administrative services to the citizen were government-centric, causing dissatisfaction and civil complaint. Therefore, the Korean government placed focus on human-oriented services as top priority. Third, creative economy and roles of ICT. Government 3.0 is a new paradigm for government operation to promote active sharing of public information and removal of barriers existing among government ministries for better collaboration. The ultimate goal is to secure the driving force for national administration and to provide personalized services to individual citizens, and at the same time, generating more jobs and supporting creative economy. This may not be easy for you to understand. Therefore, for better understanding of this concept, I will show you this slide to assist your understanding by comparing Government 3.0 with Government 2.0 and Government 1.0. If we make a distinction of the paradigms of government operation between 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0, Government 1.0 places the efficiency of government as the core value, providing one-way service delivery and requiring citizens to make personal visits to various administrative offices. As for Government 2.0, democracy was a critical element, putting citizens at the center of the initiative. Although strict disclosure of information and citizen participation were carried out, this led to the introduction of public services based on the two-way communication, and the internet played an important role in connecting the government with the citizens. In Government 3.0, services will be individual, citizen-oriented, and provided in advance. When a citizen contacts the government office just once, all the information about the citizen will be shared among agencies, and different services available for the citizen will be provided. It is a way providing customized services through opening, sharing, communication, and collaboration. Service framework will be upgraded to fit mobile and smart infrastructure. Fourth, achievement. From the open data perspective, these are the following achievements of Government 3.0. First, from legal perspective, it is critical necessity to have law and it effectively coordinate pan-government policy on open data. The key point is ensure right to use public data, registration procedures, data provision, obligation, and immunity from liability. Second, we have implemented public-private partnership system for the effective promotion of open data policies and open data sharing. This is organization chart for the policy. We have created the roadmap. We tried to raise open data rate up to 60% until year 2016. Fourth, we have created open data portal. So we put concept of pan-government integrated window for open data. We are prepared verification system of all government service for providing services with high reliability. We were able to discover success models as it is evident from these visible results. Each strategy can be explained with more details, and they are as follows. Last, strategy and direction. This slide shows open data strategy, its vision and objective, as well as priority areas. Strategic approach and demand-based expansion. We focus on 15 strategic areas to become a top priority. For examples, whether transportation, land, food, medicine, agriculture, livestock, culture, tourism, disaster safety, health, welfare, etc. Also, preemptive provision of public data. Data quality management and standardization. Public database quality management and open API, also standardization. Ecosystem development via the company's promotion. This is open data ecosystem development process and the company's promotion process. This concludes my presentation. I believe that Government 3.0 is a practical model for enhancing public service delivery through a full-of-government cooperation framework based on information technology applied across the government. To better work for the citizen using open data is an essential fact for the government approach to the citizen. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lee. One of the privileges of events such as this is that we often get to touch and a real sense of the future. And with the discussion we've just heard on Government 3.0, the future really is now. That was really a discussion not just about opening government files and taking them out of PDFs, but using the smartphones that are the data sensors all of us have to develop real-time, customized services to citizens, often even before the citizens themselves know that they need it, and it is happening in the Republic of South Korea. So I think it was a real privilege for us to have had a taste of the future in action. Thank you very much. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce my good colleague and friend, Harriet Merrill, who heads up e-government in Flanders and has been a real champion of pushing creative, innovative, and open collaboration across the region.
Assalamu alaikum. It's of course a pleasure for me to be here because Flanders, for those who didn't look for it on Google Maps, is the half of Belgium. It's a Dutch-speaking part, so it's a very small country, but I've seen in a number of inhabitants about the same size as the United Arab Emirates. So my e-government group, which I'm heading, is named Corvée, which stands for Coordination Self-Managed E-Government, but I like also the annotation as Corvée, as hard work doing public works. I've read somewhere that the Suez Canal, which is not so far from here, has been built with Corvée. Not my group, but the strategy of Corvée is something which I have to repeat to the civil servants in Belgium all the time. E-government is more than just digitizing bureaucracy, because the first 10 years around the century, change of the century, we were so happy that all the old paper forms are now on the internet. People could type in, and then we most even printed them out and used to treat them like they did for the last 200 years. What I try to say all the time is, let's make use of modern technology to solve the real problems and do the real tasks of a government, and that's not a very well functioning ministry. What the task of a government is good education, good health, good social services, good environment, and so on. And the modern technology opens a whole spectrum of possibilities with some keywords: e-health, e-learning, e-mobility, can do a lot more than, again, subsidizing, regulating, inspecting, and what have you. One of the big things of the last 10 years was of course, the principle, don't ask what the government knows. And in Flanders, that's in law since 2008, that no administration is allowed to ask citizens and civil service and enterprises again what some other agency asked. It's been said this morning already. We've been using our citizens as errand boys. Go get me a birth certificate, go get me your statutes, and so on. We've got it all in a central system, and we can that way reduce administrative burdens quite essentially. And now we're even starting to award rights automatically. The government often knows everything it should know to decide if a citizen is entitled to a certain subsidy or not. The first thing on our agenda for the second part of this year is student grants. The scenario is a student registers at university, we check his information in the birth certificate, who his parents are, how much they earn, and so on, and in the evening he gets an email from us, we think you get a student grant of 2,000 euros, but check your data. And of course, open data. And we work for the municipalities too. As I said, Flanders is half of Belgium, the region, but we've got 308 municipalities, and a lot of things we can save a lot of taxpayers' money by working for all these municipalities instead of expecting what we have been expecting for the last 20, 30 years, that every municipality does the same work again and again and again and builds the same applications all over. What we have built to do this is the Magda platform, and Magda in my language stands for Maximum Data Sharing Between Administrations. This is a bit of a prelude to what I'm coming about open data, but it was already a revolution for government agencies to share data amongst each other. We didn't. As I said, we asked the citizens or the enterprise to collect the data from another agency and send it to us in a big envelope, which is much easier for us to work with than to check the data ourselves on an internet. That's hard work. And this is a bit the feeling I had this morning, and I understand it completely. It's as if the whole open data policy is already a fact, and all we have to do is to implement it. For us, and I know for a lot of my colleagues in Europe and elsewhere, it's an uphill battle. We have to convince all the government agencies to open up their data, because by culture, we don't want to change. We've been doing things for the last 200 years as we have been doing it, so why should we change? I'm going a bit, for time's reasons, further to my presentation. But again, what we have been doing was exchanging information between the cities, the Flemish region, the federal government, and even some European data. And it was very difficult to convince everybody because it needs an investment. And why should I invest in something that does not benefit my agency but helps a colleague? That's not what we do. We don't like this. But we have been successful in quite some things, and I'm quite proud of some products which really have been helping citizens and enterprises to do a lot less bureaucracy and to give them much faster and easier what they should be getting from the government for a long time. In terms of open data, we've got now since 2 years, the government has really decided that all data should be open by default, and they all published on, and I hope just one data portal for Flanders, but again, there's another one for the federal government, even two. We still have to work a bit together, but there is already a link between the federal, the Belgian open data portal and the Flemish, so there's no contradiction. If you look for something, just one search is enough. But I've got a colleague who's going around all the administrations almost every day to convince them, hey, this is interesting information, why don't you open it? And what I have been doing is trying to force from bottom up to open up their data. And we called it the Flemish Innovation Project based on open data. It's a competition. It has been a competition. We had some money, not enough, not much, but at least we said, bring us your good ideas about innovation projects based on open data, and we will finance them. And I had expected 5 entries, and we got more than 20 amazingly strong ideas. And we had been opening all our drawers, and we could finance now 10 of those, also together with the cities in Flanders. And I think it's too early yet to say the results, because they're still building them since the end of last year. But there are some very nice projects which will really make a difference and set examples of what you can do with open data, because there's been, for the last years, everywhere, a whole liturgy. Everybody was telling how important open data is, but the real results, what has been done with it, was, at least in Belgium, quite, and not in most European countries, really quite low. Everybody was convinced it was useful, it was important, but I used to make the distinction between open data for reasons of transparency, and that's for people who want to check exactly what the government is doing, and then the open data you need for nice applications which are useful for citizens and enterprises. And Belgium once became famous because our public transport company, the railroads, sued somebody, took him to court because he had been building an application based on the time schedule of the trains. And our train company said, no, that's not open data, that's ours, and you can't use them, which is a bit strange, but at least the court, it didn't go far. There was such a political and media fuss about it, so that the court, they took it out and they let the guy do what he wanted to do. Then I want to say something about 2 European projects we are doing around open data. One which is really, well, I sometimes call it my pet project because it's so beautiful. It's so good show of what can be done with open data, which is Citadel on the Move. And it's about enabling smart city services through open data and mobile applications, because open data is the future, mobile applications too. And I've had some contacts with people from developing countries, many more, and I don't have to explain to you because many more people in most developing countries have a mobile phone, but they don't have a laptop. So sending e-government services through mobile phones is quite sensible and reaches a lot more people anywhere, in Belgium and in poor countries in Africa or wherever. What's the Citadel approach? I'm going to. It's delivering the tools to open and convert data. We've got a converter that makes it very easy, and a child can do it. Coming back to them, but that's a photo of one of the children. We have a tool that converts a simple Excel file. Most people, I've learned, not everybody knows what an Excel is, an Excel into JSON, which is the format needed for mobile applications. But at the same time, that tool checks if you are presenting your data in the right way, because we want to know what is it? Is it a park or parking? Is it, where is it situated? That's very important. A lot of e-government services are going to be based on geography. Where is this thing? Where is this hospital? Where is this park? Where is this public toilet? So you have to link the data itself to the geographical position of it. And then we've got another application generator which makes it, from those data, a very simple mobile app. Not so exquisite, not so beautiful, but it does what it needs to do. And for most mobile apps on my phone, I don't want it to be very beautiful and colorly, much colors, but I just want to, that it tells me where the nearest restaurant or public toilet is. And then, thirdly, the vision is that an application made by one can be used everywhere. If a city uploads its data conform with the Citadel standard or approach, if you publish your data, an application made by Manchester can be used in Ghent, Issy-les-Moulineaux in France, and Athens. That's the 4 pilot cities in the project. But also, if you upload here in Abu Dhabi your data in the same standard, you will be able to use the mobile application made by Ghent or Manchester. We started with templates, and that was already last year, end of 2012, the first time I saw this is going to work. We made templates where the 4 pilot cities uploaded their data, and one template showed the points of interest, the parkings, the events for all those cities. And then we went to the apps. And there are some apps being made on the Citadel on the Move. And as I said, we have an app templates, we've got this data set converter, we've got this generated tool, and we've got, and that's a lot of text, but very important, a white paper telling cities in a very simple way how to publish their data to make use of the Citadel environment. And we had a conference in February, and we had a hackathon, which is the new English word for competition. And it was amongst 2 others, won by 2 kids, 9 and 8 years old. And that shows how simple the Citadel on the Move tools can be. They converted the Excel, and I was told they even had to beg to some small city in America to publish their data in an Excel, because they had never heard of that. It was a list of events, and they had it on paper, but okay, we'll type it over in an Excel, and that Excel the kids turned into JSON, and using the app generator, we've got now an app working in the United States and in South Africa. And they got a special award. And then the other one, which is going to be released very professionally next week, is a mobile application based on 2 databases. We've got one in Flanders with all the enterprises, with a lot of information about them, but of course what's the company's name, where is it situated, and is it a restaurant, hotel, chemical plant, and so on. This database is going to be open by law next week, the 9th of May. I just got a copy on my mobile that the law is now published today. And on the other hand, we've got a database with all the events, concert, theater, and so on. And what the guys who won the hackathon last month made was, with the data from the Crossroads Bank for Enterprises and the one events in Flanders, they made a mobile app. And no, you won't be looking for a chemical plant and what are the events in the neighborhood, but if I'm going to a concert in a city I don't know well, where's a good hotel, where's a good restaurant, and so on. On the other hand, if I'm a hotel owner, I can use the app to say, what are the events near my hotel this week? And we have made an option that parking places can also be uploaded, but it's the cities who have to upload them, because we don't have a Flemish database with all the parking places. But if a city uploads them, and they can use the easy tools made by Citadel, you can also find where can I park in the neighborhood of that restaurant or that concert, or both. That's the results, and the website, it will be on the slides, and it's really an open invitation. All cities who want to join can do so. As associated members, you don't get money from us, but you can use the tools, you can help test them, and if you got feedback, then our team should be improving what we have done until now. And then a new project which has just started is Open Transport Network. I'm going fast through this, but it's basically the same, but using geographical data, which is in Europe still quite a difficult matter. We've got a good guideline, a directive from the Europe, which is called INSPIRE, which standardizes the way geographical data should be published by all member states, but we're still on a long way there. But the idea behind Open Transport Network is to facilitate applications that use private and public data in the geographical sphere to improve transport and to improve security. One of the simple examples is if in a city, not with the big roads I've seen here last night, but if a contractor for a private house, not the road contracts, that's all regulated normally, but if somebody wants to build a house and he puts his lorry in front of the house, half of the street is blocked and you can hardly get through. In Amsterdam, that was the first time I heard this example, they've made an application just for that, so that they can know where the ambulance or the fire brigade better not goes through on the way to an emergency, because they're going to lose valuable time. One of the ideas behind OTN, Open Transport Network, is to make it possible for all kinds of issues all over Europe. Another one, and that's not open data by default, I should be able as a citizen to say to the security services, and only them, not to the burglars, my kids in my house are sleeping on the second floor at the back and the bathroom is on the first floor and in front, so that if they have to come to an emergency in the middle of the night, they don't focus on extinguishing the fire in my bathroom, but try to save my kids in the back. Things like that. I hope that this project, sooner or later, as late as possible, will save lives. I don't want it being tested by disaster. And then to end my presentation, as I started by, we should be doing more than digitizing bureaucracy. I want civil service to think, and the word was nicely used, a creative government, think about using modern technology to solve the real issues, the real challenges of government, and that's not a good administration and paperwork, it's using the modern tools. For instance, I'm a big supporter of using or supporting the self-driving car, which they are experimenting now, instead of what we have been doing, improving and facilitating the whole procedure to get the driver's license, and then the police has to control if I've got it with me and if I haven't been drinking and so on. With the self-driving car, I can just give the keys to my young kids, say, okay, you go to the sports club, send the car back, then I can go do my groceries and I'll send the car back for you when you want to return home. This is the future. I love it. So, thank you.